Today I'm going to talk about the power of really listening. Listening is probably one of the most important skills you can master. Of all the millionaires and billionaires that I know, most of them do more listening than talking. By becoming a great listener, you improve your productivity, you improve your ability to influence, and you improve your ability to negotiate. And great listening helps you avoid misunderstandings and conflicts when you communicate with other people. Most people can hear, but very few really listen. Ernest Hemingway said, "When people talk, listen completely." Most people never listen. Thomas Edison said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak." Our biggest communication problem is that we don't listen to understand. We listen to reply. Most people don't listen. They just wait for their turn to speak. One of the most sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what the other person has to say. So when you're listening, try not to think or judge. Just listen. Now what's funny is it does take patience to listen, but it takes all sorts of skills to pretend to listen. The book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie it's awesome, and I highly recommend it to you if you haven't already read it. And the biggest message in that book is to ask questions, let other people talk, and then actively listen. People love conversations when they're doing the majority of the conversation and the talking, and love to be around people that really listen to them. There's a difference between listening and actively listening. When you're actively listening, you're focused on being interested, not interesting. You're asking questions, you're looking for commonalities, and you're giving that person all of your attention. You let go of your personal agenda, and sometimes you even repeat what that person just said and work to pull more information out of that person. You give them validation, and you maintain total eye contact, avoiding any distractions. When you're actively listening, you're actually taking time to consider what the other person is saying, not just hearing their words. You're attentive, but you're relaxed. I think the greatest example of an active listener that I've ever seen is Tony Robbins. When you meet Tony and you speak to him, it doesn't matter if there are thousands of people around you or even that they're all likely looking at you because you're talking to him. But he engages you so completely that it feels like you're the only 2 people there. You have his total focus. He's listening with his whole being. Now I'll tell you that I personally struggled with preparing for this clip because aspiring to be a much better listener is something I struggle with every day. You guys have likely heard how animated I get on my show when I'm interviewing somebody, and I'll tell you I regularly kick myself when I interrupt somebody I'm interviewing because I either get too excited about what they're talking about or I try to expand on something they just said so that I'm certain you understand it. That said, I'm committed to becoming a better listener. So let me tell you, I'm listening to these words as right now as much as I'm taking them in and trying to embody them as much as I hope you do. Listening can also sometimes be the greatest gift you can give someone. Sometimes if someone's hurting, they start healing the minute they feel heard. And sometimes all someone needs is to be heard and to have someone listen without any advice or words. Also, remember, it sometimes takes courage to stand up and speak, but it can take just as much courage to sit down and listen. We don't learn from talking, we learn from listening. The Dalai Lama said, "When you talk, you're only repeating what you already know, but if you listen, you may learn something new." Former President Lyndon B. Johnson said, "If you're not listening, you're not learning." Larry King says, "Every morning, nothing I say this day will teach me anything. So if I'm going to learn, I must do it by listening." And one of my favorite quotes was by Jimi Hendrix, "Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens." And realize that sometimes carefully listening to someone else's viewpoint or position could reveal the one thing you need to know to get you to your goals. Remember, the quieter you become, the more you can hear. So I say to you, listen once in a while. You might be really amazed by what you hear, and remember to learn to listen very carefully because sometimes opportunity knocks very softly. So the last thing I'll say to you is speak in such a way that other people love to listen to you and listen so completely that others love to speak to you. I'm Rod Khleif, wishing you magnificent conversations, incredible passion, and massive success in your business and in your life.